Derry footballer James McClean came under fire this week when he accused his teammates and the media of being quicker to voice support for Black Lives Matter than they would to address the anti-Irish abuse he says he has received over the years. But does he have a point? Does this progressive, virtue-signalling society of ours prioritise trendy causes over real social justice? This is Ben Scallan and you're watching Gript Media. Today, one of the biggest focuses in Western society is tackling racism. Earlier this week, a 12-year-old boy in the UK was arrested for sending racist messages online to black footballer Wilfried Zaha. Following this, many in the footballing community were rightly quick to condemn racist abuse of Irish footballer David McGoldrick as well as Tammy Abraham. Now, of course, it should go without saying that racism towards anyone of any race for any reason should be condemned utterly. The messages directed at these athletes are, needless to say, atrocious, and no decent person would ever stand over them. But Republic of Ireland and Stoke City footballer James McClean had a few words to say about how this kind of abuse is handled by society and the media, and this raised several eyebrows. For context, McClean claims that he has been the subject of enormous and ongoing abuse from some UK football fans since 2011 when he refused to wear the poppy. As a native of Derry, McClean said that he did not want to disrespect the memory of those who had been killed by British paratroopers in his city on Bloody Sunday. For this, he claims he's been the target of years of sectarian abuse, including receiving death threats and bullets in the post. Regarding the reaction of his teammates to the week's events, McClean said, "Driving back from training today while listening to TalkSport discussing the vile racist comments this weekend made towards Zaha and McGoldrick on social media, listening to their reaction of disgust at it, and rightly so for that matter, because it is horrendous and nobody should be subjected to that. People need to be held responsible for their words and actions." He went on, "What leaves a sour taste in my mouth though is I've received more abuse than any other player during my 9 years in England, whether that be death threats, bullets sent in the post, birthday cards, letters, etc. This is not a cry for sympathy, but one to ask the question, what is the difference? 12-year-old boys get arrested for posting racial abuse online to Zaha, again, rightly so, but has anyone ever been held accountable for mine? No. Have I ever had any kind of abuse condemned by the media, Sky Sports, TalkSport, newspapers? No. In fact, quite the opposite. The slightest thing that I do that might cause offence to anyone is highlighted by them. I've seen some of my fellow Irish teammates post a black square in support of anti-racism, as well as posts condemning the discrimination, and again, rightly so. But have I ever seen any of them ever post a public condemnation of the discrimination I get, which funnily enough is a discrimination against them also? That would be a no. Does one kind of discrimination hold a higher bearing over another act of discrimination? I would say I am confused, but that's the wrong word because confusion means not fully understanding something. In this case, it's quite clear. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Now, whatever your personal views, James raises an interesting point. You have to understand this isn't really about Northern Ireland politics, it's not about football or Ireland's relationship with the UK or anything like that. This is about the way society and the media categorises different sorts of ill treatment and abuse. When someone of foreign descent is targeted for their race, or a woman or someone who's gay, we all rightly see that that's an outrage and all of society unites in condemning it, which is good. Nobody should be mistreated for their inherent characteristics, and of course nobody should be abused along those lines either. But if someone is victimised for sectarian political reasons, be they nationalist or unionist, Irish or British, for some reason that's seen as less significant or less worthy of an injustice to protest against. But it goes even deeper than that. This time last year, there was a disgusting act of vandalism against a mosque in Galway, which was rightly condemned by the media. Whatever your views are, coming after a person's place of worship is never acceptable, clearly. But when the victim is a Christian and say a Catholic church is vandalised, as they regularly are in this country, we very rarely hear much uproar about that. Nobody really cares or wants to show their sympathy or solidarity with innocent Catholics or Protestants or Orthodox Christians when they find themselves on the wrong side of targeted abuse. Another example of this would be white Irish victims compared to non-white victims. After the death of George Floyd in a white police officer's custody in America, our government and media spent weeks making a great show of solidarity with black Americans everywhere. But when a white teenage boy was stabbed by a black teenage boy in Carrigaline, County Cork around the same time, on our own shores, we didn't hear a peep. How is it that our media and political classes can say that one of these acts is an appalling tragedy that needs to be called out, but don't recognise that any issues need to be addressed closer to home? But as McClean said, I fully understand that they don't want the backlash and that they want an easy life. As much as I respect everything else, you can't pick and choose what you get behind. That's where I lose respect. And of course, this is absolutely true. You can't pick and choose. It's almost like when it comes to certain categories of victim, white people, straight people, men, Christians, that society's sympathy vanishes. There's no pop culture movement for those victims, no media press runs or protests. We just don't talk about that as a culture. But why is that? Are these not the same people who claim to believe in social justice? It's not justice when we ignore the suffering of some people in society because of how they were born. Justice is supposed to be blind, and the only true justice is the one that says all discrimination and victimization of innocent people is wrong, not just the ones that are trendy today and have a popular label or hashtag attached to them. If you like this commentary and you want to see more like it, please be sure to share this video and let us know how you feel in the comments below. Thanks for watching.